those you small heroes.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Owlet Tournament Stage 2, Day 2. Actually, this is recorded here on Sunday, February 24th, and we'll be playing live to you, I assume, on Wednesday. Hello, everyone. I am your caster, Horohori, joined, as always, by the big, the wonderful, the color caster of color casters. It is Pulse. Pulse, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. We're finally back into Owlet after our week plus break. So it's really great to be casting Overwatch again and getting back into the swing.
Yeah, it is, and we're getting back into the swing with a hell of a match. It is going to be the Megs and the Ghost Peppers, a combined record of 17-3. The Megs sitting at 8-2 and in third place here in the overall standings. Ghost Peppers sitting at 9-1. Their only loss was to Boosted, by the way. So a hell of a match here coming up. Some roster changes coming up for the Ghost Peppers, but we'll first introduce the Megs to you now. So it is the Megs sitting at 8-2. It'll be Cat, Nasky, and Sid as your supports, Fancy Bunny and Lord being your tanks, and Trash Panda, Magic Cat, Gino Saji, and Riley will be your DPS. And for the Ghost Peppers, they had a bit of a roster change. They had a graduator in Michael, so congratulations to him for making Masters. But Nursey also made the cut, even though she graduated 2 hours after the lockout date, so she's able to stay. Very, very important for her to stay. Rokurion and H2O follow up as the additional supports. Chaos, Gas Roll, and Dynamics B are your tank lineup, and the major changes are in the DPS lineup, starting with Jackson, Alejandro J, Thick Daddy, as you might remember him from Microsoft Excelsior, Commander Hui, and that guy Tyler. Pulse, the additional DPS changes are strong additions to the Ghost Peppers. That makes some threats here to take this league, don't you think?
Yeah, for sure. And I remember casting Thick Daddy Commander Hui from MSXL in the first season of Owlet. And there were some pretty big pickups, honestly. Like the team did incredibly well. So we get to see the Ghost Peppers this time run things hopefully other than goats, but while 3-3 is still strong, there's still some chance for variance. So we might be able to see them put that new DPS players to use.
Yeah, we might see that come into use, especially with Commander Hui being a very flexible DPS. Thick Daddy, known as a Roadhog main, but can play other characters, but is usually an off-tank flex. Here are your maps for this evening. Stage 2, excuse me, week 1. Start off on Oasis, go to Gibraltar, followed by Volskaya, Numbani, and if we go 5, we're going to Nepal. Any not of your favorite maps, Pulse, of the 5 that we see here in the rotation for this week?
Well, I'm a little weird. I don't really hate any maps in Overwatch, but I would like to say that we've casted both these teams before, but the only maps that are a repeat for any of these teams that we've seen before
Hmm.
are Oasis and Volskaya. So we casted, I believe, the Megs on those two, but the rest are completely up in the air. Last time we did cast the Ghost Peppers, they were had a little bit different of a roster. They were running mostly goats because they were sort of restricted to their support and tank players. So while I still expect to see that from them, I would expect them to maybe have a little bit more trouble on some of the more vertical maps that are coming out, like Numbani or Gibraltar, because we know they were very good at goats, but we don't know if they've completely integrated with their new players yet.
Yeah, and them losing Michael, who was such a great sort of sniper main, Jackson's going to have to pick up for that. I'm not sure Commander Hui plays Widow, and Thick Daddy normally plays off tank, but can flex to some other DPS, so it'll be interesting to see what they pull with regards to those sort of vertical maps that you mentioned with regards to Gibraltar and Numbani. Let's just take a look at the current standings here before we get started. As you see, it is Boosted by the Way, leading the way at 10-0. The Ghost Peppers, followed by Yes and the Megs. The Megs sitting in fourth, actually. I thought they were in third, but they're actually in fourth with a plus 19 differential versus Yes, who had a plus 20 differential. There are a lot of games Friday night here. Unfortunately, the results of those games will not be revealed until Monday at the latest, so it's going to be interesting. There were a couple of teams that are no longer here in the Owlet tournament who could not fully commit. Team Verdant and Blackjack Gaming both pulled out of the tournament, so we're down to 14 teams, folks. So they might not be any substitutions happening, so it might be the best 8 of 14 that will advance to the playoffs here. Now, it looks like both teams are going to need a second, so when we come back, it will be Oasis when we start off this match between the Megs and the Ghost Peppers, so go ahead and stay tuned.
The world could always use more heroes. The world could always use more heroes. world could always use more heroes.
Alrighty, folks. Welcome back and welcome to Oasis. We will be starting off here on Gardens. So teams are getting ready in their assembly times. It will be Cat and the Megs here on the blue side, and it will be the Ghost Peppers in red. Starting lineup here for the Megs, it will be Cat, Magic Cat, both Cats starting, Lord, Rurushu, excuse me, Trash Panda, and Fancy Bunny. And on the other side on the Ghost Peppers, it's Nursey, Thick Daddy. So we immediately will start Chaos, H2O, Ghost Boast is a person that wasn't on the roster, must be a late addition, as well as Jackson. So it looks like here they're going to be running Dive on the side of the Ghost Peppers. So we know 3-3 combination that I see of, and it looks like it's going to be a counter dive here on the side here of the Megs. The initial engage actually starts off here onto the high ground, and Rurushu actually takes out H2O with a big kill. Thick Daddy actually taking down Fancy Bunny, so main tank going down. Jackson going in deep there on the other side, trying to see if he can get anybody else, but it looks like Chaos takes down Magic Cat and positioning absolutely here with the Ghost Peppers. Chaos chasing down Cat, trying to get her down. Magic Cat and Lord of Lollies up there on the top. Point will go here to the Megs, who are gaining initial percentage as Chaos gets rezzed here, as the fight is actually turned around as Chaos here is getting bombarded. He absolutely got nailed there with a grenade and a sleep under the bubble, and it's a quick turnaround here for the Megs as they are getting aggressive, trying to pick out anybody who is out of position. Thick Daddy here on the Diva actually will get demeched, waiting for his tank to come back. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen very soon here as Rurushu actually gets rezzed here by Cat, and finally we have a little bit of a break in the action.
Yeah, and both these teams running out with the fire is very common on Gardens just because there's such good verticality. But it's interesting that both opted for a Genji rather than a Tracer, just because it's a little bit easier for a Tracer to sort of get in the back and harass that Ana, whereas the Genji would have to dash all the way through the team.
Yeah, big kill there on the Magic Cat, who had his blade. Unfortunately, is not going to be able to use it. Jackson here going for the tanks. Does get two instead, gets Rurushu and Trash Panda. So down go the supports here. Jackson going crazy, finishes off Fancy Bunny, and finally gets to turn this point around. Only giving up 41% here, Pulse. That was actually a good take back here from the Ghost Peppers.
This is a fantastic take back. They only end up using Nano Blade, which is a very efficient ult, especially when you're running this like sort of Genji Ana setup. You just use those two ults and more or less get a 6k with it, and that's exactly what they did to get that point back.
Yeah, Magic Cat here has the blade, and they have a Nano Blade of their own, so we're going to see if they're going to engage with that, or possibly maybe try to see if they can get a dive. Here comes the blade here from Magic Cat, immediately slept, booped, he's able to come back, trying to get anybody in the back line. He's going to get Thick Daddy, but Thick Daddy uses his bomb to try to get back into the mech. He's tracing down. Unfortunately, Thick Daddy is able to get Lord of Lollies here on the mech, so not really the result that they actually wanted, as the fight will continue here onto the point. Ghost Boast here with a huge barrage, taking down two. Magic Cat taking down Jackson, but this fight looks like it is going to be won here. No, a comeback here as Trash Panda getting res, but Chaos getting Cat in the process. Both supports now killing Magic Cat and Fancy Bunny, and this is actually going to be a hold here for the Ghost Peppers.
And after that fight, we see some changes coming out. After both teams blew almost pretty much all of their ults between them, we see Jackson switch over to the McCree. So something to make a little bit harder for Rurushu's life on the Pharah, but they're still sort of playing with this Kree Pharah, which means they're going to have to rely entirely on their Winston and Diva to sort of just follow up on any damage that either of them put out.
Yeah, so Rurushu here trying to get some initial rockets here onto Thick Daddy, who is playing on the high ground here. Runs out of boost. He's got to be super careful. When he drops down, he's going to actually be very, very vulnerable. Trying to get rockets here onto that Ana. Unfortunately, down he goes. So Rurushu down with an ult. Also, Diva Bomb gets sent up into the air to see if they can zone out anybody. Does get Nursey in the high ground, who was trying to hide and sort of stay on the point. Overtime starting to tick down. Looks like Ghostpost able to get Lord out of the mech, but it is going to turn around though, as kills coming on the side here of the Ghost Peppers, as they're able to wipe out pretty much everybody else remaining here from the Megs, and it is a 100-41 take here from the Ghost Peppers. What happened there at the very end?
That was an interesting fight. They ended up sort of blowing a lot of ults on both sides, and none of them were really as effective as I think either team wanted them to be. But since we saw the Ghost Peppers already be so far up in the fight, just 99 to about 50, I believe, they're just able to sort of weather the storm and finish with the 100%.
Yeah, they were able to get the kills that they needed there at the very end. They needed to fight onto the point, and I think trying to squeeze in there, they lost Rurushu early to a kill there early on, and he had the barrage, unable to sort of use it, and that just opened up that fight for the Ghost Peppers. Now we go into City Center. This is a fairly different map with that big sort of stall in the middle. It's going to be very, very dependent on who can take this first. We're going to see both teams come out with the dive again, so it'll be very interesting to see what they do. It looks like the Megs here have just opted to just go to the high ground here, whereas the Ghost Peppers here are all going to be on the backside trying to see if they can force the Megs to come to them. Instead, Chaos actually dives in there, taking a lot of damage, actually getting taken down. Ghostpost going down too also, so they lose two big players here. Thick Daddy also getting demech. This looks like it's all Megs all the time here on the point. Looks like a retreat coming in from the Ghost Peppers, and you do get the initial fight win.
And running this Pharmacy plus Tracer is a little bit better at dealing with a Pharmacy than a Genji is, just because it's hit scan. So it gives them just ever so slightly of an advantage, where we see Ghost Peppers running the Pharah Genji like they did last round. And it worked very well for them, but I think between the Megs getting that early high ground and running the Tracer, they were able to eke out this early win. Now, every time we see the Ghost Peppers approach from this right side, which is much more closed, it's going to be harder for them to set up because they're running these dive heroes. So they need to make sure they get in taking the least amount of damage from far as possible, but also so that they can still spread out and focus the target.
Yeah, they're positioning themselves on the other side of this pagoda to make them come to them. And there's a big initial kill there on Rurushu, as it looks like the Peppers are actually starting to fall back a little bit. They're getting the kills here as the team is pretty split up. Cat going down is huge for the Megs, as Magic Cat is not going to be able to stay up in the air without the support, and now it's just a matter of cleanup. Trash Panda here trying to sort of stay on the point, earn as much percentage as they can. 50% here from the Megs is actually a very, very good start, as now Rurushu trying to poke in, make sure he doesn't want to get killed here, so he's going to fall back.
And that set up for the last fight, where the tanks were able to get in and sort of split up and pressure, just like we said, but they were able to get that early pick off. They managed to waste Magic Cat's barrage. So now it's going to be really hard for the Megs to come back and take this point back. Fights on this point generally last forever, just because it's a very big point, but if they're able to close this out with a quick play, like it looks like they're setting up, then they might keep holding on.
Yeah, Jackson went a beeline for Rurushu there. Magic Cat actually tried to focus in on the supports, so they figured that the Tracer there was priority kill. So to make sure that that gets done, looks like Thick Daddy coming out here with a bomb to just sort of zone out members here of the Megs. The fight going the way here of the Ghost Peppers, though. Slowly but surely, they're picking off players one by one. And Chaos there with two big kills, one on Fancy Bunny and one on Cat. Now they have a huge advantage. It's going to be reset time coming here for the Megs, but they've actually given up their advantages. Now 53-50 onto the point.
Megs are coming back with 3 ults and Diva Bomb plus Pulse Bomb. There's going to be a lot of explosions coming out, compared to they only really have the Nano Barrage on the Ghost Pepper side, which is good to help keep a Pharah alive, but Barrage is still one of those ults that it's very easy to be a bad ult with.
Yeah, as it looks like they actually initiate with a bomb onto the side. Does not get anybody, so it really just sort of opens up and moves the team around. As oh, big rocket there by Ghostpost taking out Magic Cat, and the barrage coming out from Ghostpost here is able to take out Fancy Bunny, as Magic Cat there getting res at the same time. Nano actually coming into Ghostpost here, trying to see if they can get her out of the air. Unfortunately, not going to be able to do so. Big kill by Magic Cat here onto H2O, but the Ghost Peppers here getting the majority of the other kills. Magic Cat the only person left here up on the spawn, jumping up, trying to see if she can sort of stall the time, as there are no real hit scan players left onto the point. Magic Cat barraging, trying to get anybody as she can on the outside, gets killed there by Jackson. Bomb actually here on the point. Cat not going to be able to run away from it, just staying on the point to just sort of stall as much as possible. It is a stall fest now as Lord coming back here onto the deep is immediately going to D-Mech. Like the Lucio here is going around in circles as Trash Panda gets a rocket to the face. That's going to do it here. Ghost Peppers takes first blood on Oasis, take it 2-0.
And that was pretty definitive. We saw a lot of close fights and a lot of bright spots from the Megs, but just overall, Ghost Peppers were a lot more polished on their attacks. They really didn't waste any ults, whereas we sort of saw that wasted Diva bomb at the end from the Megs, where they kind of just used to zone them out. We saw a couple bad barrages from Magic Cat where they just weren't able to accomplish what they wanted. So just a little bit more polished in a couple fights here and there from Ghost Peppers.
Do you think the rust of the 2-week break maybe have affected the Megs a little bit? Because, you know,
for sure.
Yeah, I think both teams, but Ghost Pepper's looking fairly dominant here. The thing about it is like the Megs were getting some initial good kills on some of these fights, and we're getting some quality hits. Unfortunately, just unable to sort of capitalize on them. The next thing you know, you would be watching, and the Ghost Peppers would come out, even though they were down 1, would get like 2 or 3 kills to just turn the fight around, and it would be just completely turned around into the Ghost Pepper side. And it was really sort of interesting to see how the Megs then would just sort of have to fall back and reset again, even though they would win a lot of initial fights. So very, very interesting coming out there. We're going into Gibraltar now, into the next map. So Gibraltar, one of those three-dimensional maps here, and we're going to have a couple, I think, of substitutions here. It looks like as Jumper is coming in for Lord, just to see probably a map switch on their side, and it looks like Commander Huey will be coming in. It looks like Nursey has requested the substitute in. Thick Daddy did a very good job on the Diva there, so I'm wondering who Commander Hui is going to be coming in. Commander Hui known for mostly projectile, for projectile DPS here on Gibraltar, but you would think that no, it looks like he's not going to coming in. Kat is actually asking if Nursey is actually going to bring Commander Hui, but it doesn't look like that for this. So yeah, so Gibraltar.
It looks like they're just changing Commander to spec only Ghost Pepper side. I think that's what they're doing. But Two Shoes did also come in. I think it was Two Shoes for Lord and Jumper for Fancy Bunny. So those were the subs for the Megs.
Fantastic there. So, okay. So it looks like that's going to be that mug. So it looks like also joining is Michael, but he has, I think, joined the coaching staff here of the Ghost Peppers as he is a master's graduate. So again, congratulations to him as he was watching. So we see him there in the roster. So I think both teams are going to be getting ready here to go. What are your predictions here on Gibraltar? Well, from what you've seen of the two teams here, both teams ran dive on Oasis, so that was very interesting to see. Gibraltar isn't very 3-3 map. There's a lot of verticality, so Goats isn't really in the cards for this. So you probably see maybe another dive?
I would assume dive. Pharah is one of those things. Like, Hodo, you know me, I play Pharah way too much, but
yeah.
Pharah's pretty good on Gibraltar. One of the main reasons you don't see her a lot, though, is because Widow's better. That being said, we haven't seen any Widow play yet, but we've seen both teams really like that Pharah. So it's very possible for a Pharah to be run on either side if they so wish. But I'm sure that both of them are kind of setting up swaps so that they can take advantage of some more Gibraltar meta picks. So we saw Genji's come out on both sides, and I'd expect to see like Widow Genji or something of that ilk. But we'll have to see what they really want to play when it boils down to it, because you can run a bunch of stuff here. Third point is one of those points where you can run Goats. Just since it's a lot flatter, you can run that triple support. Or my sort of favorite variant of Goats here is once you get to that third point, you can run Kree instead of one of the off tanks. And that way you can just like throw all your resources into a Kree and basically just have like an unstoppable cowboy. It's a pretty fun It's a pretty fun variant of Goats, and just the long sight lines, and that makes it sort of like a shooting alley for him. You can still run that Goats. But if you are just able to run dive and stick with it and you're doing well with it, definitely just stick dive, because there's no reason to switch if you don't have to, or if the other team doesn't force your hand.
Yeah, and a couple of late subs here coming in for the Ghost Peppers. We're going to get to see that guy Tyler, DPS main here for the Ghost Peppers, coming in as there were some changes here very, very late, right before the map started. And also Commander Hui, who was actually going to come in actually as we thought was just going to observe, is actually going to be coming in here for the Ghost Pepper. So that guy Tyler actually will take the role here of off-tank along as the Diva. But Tyler, also known as a very good DPS player, is going to play the off-tank role here, as they are forcing Jackson onto the Widow. So this is also a very, very good Widow map, you've said earlier also, because of the way the sightlines work. Offensive and defensive Widows are usually played all the way up to point 3 as well as whereas the defensive Widow usually switches, where the offensive Widow will go through the entire map. Isn't that right, Pulse?
Yeah, there's some times where you'd want to swap, but it's very situational. But these teams are pretty fairly standard for what we expect. You see a Widow, they are running the Pharah, like you said, and then Genji Sombra's a little unique, but they're running the Genji Sombra Ana, which is kind of a hack and slash combo where anytime you have Nanoblade EMP up, you should just win a team fight automatically.
Yeah. Yeah, but it looks like here, Commander Hui doing a very, very good job of sort of pushing the team back. Rurushu there, getting Jackson there in the background with a big hack and a kill, as he's being basically a menace there into the back. Jumper actually coming in, actually will end up dying, and that is huge. Commander Hui getting 2 big kills here as the payload going into the car wash right now. Commander Hui doing a good job here up in the top. Rocket hitting Rurushu right in the face, and Chaos finishing off Trash Panda. That's probably going to be that for that hold. They're going to have a second here to see if they can actually just come in and sort of defend, but I don't know if they're going to want to.
Yeah, Rurushu got that early pick on Jackson, and I think they tried to force the tempo to go too fast, so they end up getting sort of staggering themselves in and playing right into the Ghost Pepper's hands, even though they're up 1. Coming up this next fight, they really got to be careful of the barrage coming online, and also Jackson just covering all of these doors, since they can keep getting these stagger kills, and they will just have a free push through the hangar.
Yeah, and they were prioritizing making sure that they got the high ground there. So combine this Pharah with the Widow of Jackson in the background. Commander Hui just going off there, takes Rurushu down again. Rurushu just haven't been able to build up any ultimate, still stuck at around 83, and momentum here sorely with the Ghost Peppers, as now Chaos is blocking one of the doorways to make sure that nobody comes out. The payload is slowly but surely moving through. Rurushu finally getting into the area, trying to make a beeline, directly to the back line. Nursey getting obliterated there, but now Commander Hui with a big barrage will take down 2, but Chaos goes down, so it's 2v2 here, as Jackson getting a big kill on Magic Cat. H2O with a res on Chaos will flip the fight very, very badly into the favor of the Ghost Peppers. Jumper here, the only person trying to be able to sort of contest, uses the Winston ult here, trying to see if he can actually get anybody out. He gets Commander Hui, which is a huge, huge kill here. Now Tank really only remaining, and looks like the Nanoblade has to be pulled out here in order for them to see if they can hold this point, but it comes right into a Nursey ultimate there, as it looks like now the blade is gone, the ult is gone, the establish of the point here really with the Ghost Peppers, but that guy Tyler is going to actually try to see if he can remake. No, he gets killed, and it looks like Trash Panda is actually going to get wiped out there at the very end. The Diva here on the other side from Two Shoes wants to contest. It looks like she's going to have to run away, and it is a point B take here for the Ghost Peppers.
Again, we just see the same sort of thing happening on Oasis. Ghost Peppers is just a little bit tighter on their plays than the Megs. They could have held that point. Two Shoes threw the mech a little too high in the air and was unable to even use bomb as a zoning tool, but it gave the Ghost Peppers enough time to get back in and do what they wanted, which was just kill off the remaining staggers from the Megs. So they just need to play these a little bit tighter if they want to keep this up.
Magic Hat here switching over to the Widow, trying to see if they can actually counter what they've been pumping out from Jackson here. H2O's got to be super careful. Doesn't want to get picked off here. The fight finally going the way here of the Megs, as they're able to sort of push them back from spawn, as it looks like a little bit of the Widow, a little bit of damage coming in from the Widow has scared the Ghost Peppers going back here into spawn as they're going in for a reset.
Yeah, I think this is kind of what they needed to help them just a little bit sort of retain their foothold, and they needed a much larger threat so that Commander Hui couldn't just be in their face all the time as Pharah, because they were already covering so much dangerous ground between the Pharah and the Widow that it was hard for anyone on the Megs to just have a presence on the field.
Yeah, and now they've switched over to a real goats comp here. So immediately bomb goes in, takes out Two Shoes. Payload still moving. Nursey's going to be the one in charge of taking out the payload. Lucio comes out here from Trash Panda, but there was really only about 3 people left. Cat here, one of the last people remaining, as the Pharah now on the other side from Magic Cat is going to be the benefit of a nano boost. Is not going to be able to contest as Two Shoes finally comes out. This is last chance, last man standing here. Big grenade here will catch the tanks. Looks like a Transcendence coming out from Nursey here. Will rescue everyone. Big shatter by Chaos here. Catches 3 as a Wrecking Ball comes in. Jumper couldn't get the ult out in time before he gets killed. Ghost Peppers finally finishes off the point with a huge time bank there, Pulse. That fight was really all GP all the time.
Yeah, and that was that was a good example of what you can do right on Gibraltar, because Gibraltar is a map where if you do not keep your momentum, you will have a very hard time finishing it at all. And that's exactly what they did, is they never lost their momentum. There was once on B where it kind of got a little bit iffy as they neared the point, but they were able to outplay Ghost Peppers. And then on C, they lost the first fight, but instantly swapped goats and just used that to just keep up their momentum and just roll all the way to the end. And we didn't really see the Megs make the appropriate swaps to sort of deal with that. Like, as soon as they saw the swaps to goats, they're like, all right, it's our turn to play Pharah. But they didn't really play heroes that allowed their front line, like the Ryan and Zarya, to hold their ground against the stronger 3-3 support. The Pharah is good against it, but if you're running solo Ryan Zarya, they're just kind of going to get run over every single time.
Yeah, there's really no support for them there on the ground, so it was really, really hard for him to stabilize. And it was, it was like, when you really think about it, you want that sort of counter pick to it, but with that much momentum and opening up with a bomb the way they did, that guy Tyler sending in a Diva Bomb, taking out the Zarya right away, and we've seen teams lose their Zarya, and they end up losing much more than that going forward, as the Zarya has been a huge contributor when it comes to DPS as well as just sort of frontline damage. And it just, from there, it was just a massive sort of run over there by the Ghost Peppers as they were able to take people down 1 by 1. And now it looks like here, dive coming in from the offense, the Megs deciding they will go dive combination here, as they will stay with the Sombra, as Rurushu here on offensive Sombra. Very interesting pick, I think, on this map, but can't work. Commander Hui back onto the Pharah here, gets a rocket for Jumper, and now Rurushu up onto the high ground trying to see if she can find anybody, but instead will get killed by Commander Hui. These rockets just have been on point here. They're going to go back in for a switch, I think, Pulse.
Yeah, it looks like they want to swap up. They came out with exactly what they had on defense, but it's working about as well as it did on defense. They didn't really have a strong answer for the sheer amount of threat coming out from Jackson's sightlines and Commander Hui's sightlines. They're kind of just playing into it all the time. They're going to need to swap some things up, and they're swapping to Widow and Genji now so that they can threaten the Widow a little bit better.
Yeah. So it looks like trade swap there, so Rurushu actually gets taken down, but he took down Jackson in the process. So Jackson will get rezzed here, so the pressure will still be able to be put onto the back line here. Great res there by H2O, realizing what is going on, and now momentum here really stalled on the side of the Megs. As Two Shoes getting demeched here, losing their Diva is going to be able, they're going to lose a lot of shield cover, as that guy Tyler pushing pressure on Rurushu, trying to make sure that the Widow from the other side just does not have any positioning. Jackson finishing off that kill right there, so now the Megs here running out of ideas. They're trying to figure out what they can do here, Paul.
I think really what they need to do is, if they want to win this Widow battle, they need more something like a Mercy or something to help Rurushu sort of hold their ground. But as soon as I say that, Rurushu shuts down a big barrage from Commander Hui, and they all of a sudden have the opening that they need to win this fight and get point A.
Yeah, and Rurushu actually takes down Jackson again. Going to be a benefit of a res here, but without Commander Hui, they lose a lot of the sort of DPS that they needed. Chaos, though, will take down Jumper, so they take down the front main tank, so that might be the opening they need. Jackson getting immediate revenge here onto Rurushu, as Chaos is just making chaos there in the backline. He realizes he's going to have to jump out here very, very soon. 1:48 here on the clock, and even though ult's coming up here, big 6 coming up for the Megs, the Ghost Peppers have just had their number.
Every time that the Megs start off a fight with something that looks promising, they're just instantly shut down, and never really from overcommitment either. The Ghost Peppers are really smart about when they're using ults and how they're responding to picks.
Yeah, and Rurushu here is getting the kills, but they're immediately getting res. That's a big kill there onto Jackson. So now Rurushu doing as best as he can to get him through. Magic Cat here coming in with the blade, but Nursey properly timed. Transcendence there is going to keep everybody alive. Bomb heading up into the air is not going to be able to get out anybody. Commander Hui takes out Magic Cat. We're running out of time here, but Jumper does take out Nursey here. So point A still in doubt as Two Shoes now finishes off Chaos as the fight will continue. H2O getting Nursey back up. That's probably not going to be able to help here. Looks like finally the Megs have stabilized and will be able to take this to point A.
We finally got an opportunity where basically the people that came in for this map from the Megs had an opportunity to do what to sort of shine and do what their role required of them. We see a little bit of disconnect in teamwork between like Rurushu, who's new to the lineup, Two Shoes, and Jumper, and they're not quite playing together nearly as well as some of the players from Ghost Peppers. But stars finally aligned and they started getting those picks, and the tanks started following each other and following up on all the damage, and they were just able to completely finish off point A very cleanly.
Yeah, and now it looks like they're trying to build on that momentum as they're pushing in onto the Peppers here. Very aggressive play coming out here from the Megs. That guy Tyler, though, is able to shut down Rurushu, and Rurushu was a big contributor to the DPS here. Diva Bomb getting sent into the backline here. Nursey is exposed, will get blown up, but the fight here now starting to turn. Commander Hui, with a barrage of his own, will get killed, but that takes Cat out with him. Rez coming out here onto Nursey in the background, and I think they finally stabilized on the Ghost Pepper side.
The stabilize they did, the cart's starting to roll back already, and this is where it becomes scary in Gibraltar, because now that the cart has been left, it's gonna be very hard to break in. We see Jackson with high ground control on top of the shuttle covering all 4 doors, so it's gonna be really hard for both Magic Cat and Rurushu to get in contest her.
Yeah, and a bubble there to help from Chaos. Tried to see if Jackson can get a free shot. And another kill there onto Rurushu from Jackson, as it is an ulting monkey here into the background trying to disrupt any healing that's supposed to come through. Hopefully they're going to be able to get away, but no, Jumper actually gets H2O as Cat uses the Transcendence to sort of see if she can push the team forward. That guy Tyler gets Magic Cat Air with a good bomb, as now it looks like it's Chaos's turn to form to actually make Chaos into the backline here. He's able to get Cat. Jackson takes down Jumper. 1:14 here left on the clock. Looks like GP here have stabilized again. Probably only down to about 2 pushes left here coming out from the Megs.
GP doing a really good job of making the Megs play at their tempo too. Because that last fight, again, we see something similar happen to some earlier fights where they start off with some really big picks. Rurushu gets a shot, ends up dying to Jackson, but the way that Ghost Peppers regroups and sort of makes the attackers fight into them has really been controlling the tempo of every single one of these fights and making sure that they have the upper hand at any given time.
Yeah, Magic Hat here with the blade is going to be looking for it. Definitely gets Commander Hui out, but Commander Hui immediately got rezzed, and Jackson is getting the kills there up on the high ground, just being uncontested. He's dropping down to the low ground now. Magic Hat here taken out again. 24 seconds. The Megs are going to have to reset, and this is going to be it, Pulse.
Yeah, this is definitely last fight territory. The only bright side right now that we see from the Megs is that they have a Nano Blade. And that's really their only chance to sort of get big kills, apart from Rurushu just deciding to click everyone's head off all at once.
Yeah, and they're trying to be aggressive here, trying to hold him off by the door. Here comes the blade. Magic Cat trying to get into the background. All the kills have been going the way of the Megs here. They had all the ults to start off with, so down go all of them, pretty much all of the members of the Ghost Peppers. Commander Hui in the background dealing with Cat and the Zenyatta, but it's not going to be enough. Chaos jumping in here is going to stall. Uses his ult here to try to see if he can push back. Remember, it's overtime. He immediately gets melted, but down goes to about 1:30 here. They're going to get a brez as Nursey is getting caught out, and now here's their slight advantage if they want to push in.
And now is the time to push up. They should be fighting them all the way back to their spawn, since right now they know 2 of them are dead, and everyone should be retreating back. So if they can get a pick on Commander Hui, or even just stagger one more person, then this would be huge, but it looks like they're not going to be able to force it, because only Magic Cat's able to get that far up.
And unfortunately, this is probably going to be it. This is a very, very hard section here of Gibraltar. But a blade here coming into the background, as it looks like Commander Hui went diving into the back, is not going to get anybody as he was grenaded and killed. Ghost Peppers here falling now. Nursey going down as Rurushu on the Tracer, trying to do as much damage as she can, as that guy Tyler is able to demech Two Shoes, but Ghost Peppers falling back here. They do have an inordinate time on the time bank. Nursey coming in here with the Zenyatta ult as another blade here coming out as a charge comes in onto Jumper, who is ulting there on the line. Looks like they're getting the kills as Magicat and Rurushu go down. 19 seconds left to go as Jumper here is by himself. All he's got is his jump pack and the laser gun. Not going to be enough to take anybody out. That guy Tyler does get demeched, so an opening here for the Megs. Oh, a nano boost here onto Two Shoes to basically keep him alive here onto the point. It's becoming pretty much an ult battery at this point. Now Commander, looks like it's Nursey on the Wrecking Ball. Desperation time here coming out from the Ghost Peppers. Overtime actually coming down, and they're getting the kills here. Graviton comes in here from the side of the Ghost Peppers as they try to trap him all in the background, but kills has been severely here on the side of the Megs. They just non-stop start killing the Ghost Peppers. Diva Bomb gets sucked up into the air. Chaos gets a big shatter, gets people on the ground, gets 2 big kills. Could this be a comeback? He gets grenaded and killed right away. Another blade here coming up by Magicat. That guy Tyler is not in a mech. He is absolutely exposed. Commander Hui coming down. That's going to be that. Nobody going to be able to come down as it looks like the ult will send Jackson flying, and they finally complete Gibraltar. No time left remaining, so they will get a minute here on the clock. Ghost Peppers will get also an additional minute, but Megs staring in the face of a 4:21 time bank coming out from the Ghost Peppers. Woo!
That was a hell of a last fight. Like, what ended up hurting them in the end was Nursey coming back on Wrecking Ball at some point, just because as soon as you lose that Zen, that Discord, you're unable to kill targets as fast, and Wrecking Ball doesn't really have any team support either. So while it's good if you're ahead in the fight to come back as Wrecking Ball, in that situation was probably not the best thing. Something like a Moira or something for a little bit more sustained, since it was such a close fight.
Yeah,
But
I think that was a little bit of desperation, I think. You're right.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of desperation, but Ghost Peppers are looking very well off for this last part of the map. 4 minutes and 21 seconds is more than the initial time bank you get to even take point A, while we see the Megs only have 1 minute, so that's got to be really scary. And this is one of those scenarios where, even though it's not that great on this map, if you can run goats or are familiar with how to run it, you have to be able to run something with that type of snowball potential if you want to get all the way through.
You absolutely do, but the problem is it looks like they're running a very similar comp to what they were running before. And remember, it took them pretty much all of their time to even just get to the end of point A. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here as they come again with a similar dive. Rurushu now on the Tracer, basically trying to see if maybe she can get up onto the high ground here to do anything that they can. They're getting a much better push than they were before. Jackson on the Widow not getting the picks that they needed like he was getting last time. So sometimes you're hot, sometimes you're cold, but it looks like it's just poking between the two. Rurushu here going into the background, just being a general nuisance, but the payload has already moved over to the area here of the car wash, but they lose Chaos, who was chasing Rurushu down. Now trades, kills going back and forth between the two teams. This is advantageous here for the offenses. They do have a closer spawn, but we're down to about 15 seconds here.
15 seconds, and with only the Ana and Zen alive right now, they're gonna have to be the ones to sort of, they can get.
Yeah, they're going to be able to push here. Paulson, looks like your mic has been cut off. Jackson actually coming in. Looks like the fight will continue as they will go under the car wash. And now Chaos here, ulting, just now needs to just sort of move. Oh, excuse me, that is not Chaos. That is actually Jumper ulting. Looks like a nano blade here coming in from Commander Hui. A counter blade here coming in. Jumper trying to hide away. They've got to stay on the payload, but Commander Hui killed everybody. 3 kills with the blade, as they're going to be able to wipe him out, and down they go into overtime. And it will be in the car wash here. Just checking on my co-commentator, who looked like he was disconnected from Discord.
I'm back, sorry.
There we go.
Huge blade there at the end from Commander Hui, and it just, if that's not play the game, I don't know what else is. I think that was, what, 4 kills and a DMEC?
4 kills and a DMEC there with the nano blade there from Commander Hui, unable to be stopped. They did come out with their own blade on the other side from Magicat, but it was just not enough. All he did was just turn around and swipe that Genji. So, like, you know, unfortunately, nano-bladed Genji versus bladed Genji, nano-bladed Genji wins in this particular case.
That's just an unfortunate matchup. And the cart is far enough where it's not unwinnable, but it's in a very hard spot to get to. So like this is at this point, no matter what happens this map, the Megs are gonna have to take it with a chip on their shoulder because they pulled out their best. They got the 3 points, and it's just that time bank difference from their defense is what really came back to bite them in the butt. There are a couple things they could do, and if they get a really good hold between Rurushu just deciding to pop off again and Magic Hat, they're able to just finish up on every single person they put damage on, then it's possible, but it's just going to be a very hard hold.
Yeah, the way they need to do this is they need to get a couple early kills and then win the ult advantage battle. Unfortunately, it's going to be really, really hard to do so. Based on what they're running here, it looks like Jackson is actually running a Torbjorn just to make sure that there's nobody sort of going to be anywhere in the back line. And now with this Torbjorn, this is a very interesting idea to just sort of keep people at bay. Look at this. The defense has sort of had to fall back on the other side of the containers there. As down goes Rurushu thanks to the Torbjorn. Offensive Torbjorn play. 150 IQ here, as it looks like it's going to be enough. They weren't expecting it at all, as all the rest of the members can't get close to the payload, and that is going to be that. The Ghost Peppers take the win there off a very unorthodox strategy coming off of Jackson's Torbjorn.
Oh man, that's a big strat. And as soon as it happened, I really got to say this because we're familiar with the coach of Ghost Peppers.
Yeah.
It's not, but as soon as it came out, he messaged me and just said, I had no say in this. But it worked. That was that's one of those picks where they would have won even if they didn't have some weird strat like that. But you gotta appreciate for them for trying.
Yeah, you got it. I thought that was maybe something a little out of the box, but it was absolutely beautiful there from the Ghost Peppers. That Torbjorn turret took out Rurushu on the far side. So as soon
he didn't even see it coming either.
Yeah.
He dropped down and it just sniped him from halfway across this map.
Yeah, and that was actually sort of genius, knowing that they only really needed to get a certain distance. That's free DPS from the payload from the Torbjorn that, you know, it's just going to fire at anything it sort of spots, so you don't really need any focus fire. So great brain there coming out from Jackson, but very hilarious that Connor actually messaged you on the backside of that. So very, very funny. But 2-0 now, the lead here for the Ghost Peppers, as now we're going to take a second here as both teams looks like they're going to be some substitutions again, as Thick Daddy will now be coming in again as the off tank. Tyler doing his duty here on Gibraltar. Thick Daddy now coming in for Volskaya Industries, which is, I think, out of all the 2CP maps, my favorite. If there happens to be a favorite for 2CP, I mean, Paul, what do you think of Volskaya?
I like Volskaya. Like I said, I'm kind of weird. I like a lot. I think Horizon is my favorite 2CP, which will probably make a lot of people hate me. But I don't know. Like, I think Volskaya is definitely up there. It's a very flat map.
Yeah.
And it's a very like sort of laboratory type map with a lot of new strategies get tried there. A lot of things are discovered to be good there. Like, that was one of the first maps where Sombra was, people like, hey, Sombra's good. Or like that was one where people really like to run on a soldier experimentally as supports, or Zen Ana before like those things were considered good or like viable. So I have like a special spot in my heart for Volskaya, you could say.
Yeah, and I think this is one of those maps that's it's actually fun to watch as one of the 2CP ones, because there is equal possibilities of full holding on Volskaya as regards to, like, you know, Anubis, it's almost automatic that a team is going to get point A in most cases. Hanamura, it's literally a straight shot through the doors onto the point, which makes it a little harder, you know. So this one I think is a little interesting because the defense does have a chance here, but you can have a big brain on the offense and sort of figure out what you want to run to sort of counter what they're doing. So it'll be interesting what comes out here from the Ghost Peppers.
Yeah, for sure. And I do think, looking at the map pool from tonight, this is one of those maps where some people might not be thrilled with because 3-3 has been a little bit too meta for some people's taste. And this is one of those maps where 3-3 is honestly very good right now. And because there is not a whole lot of high ground, so I wouldn't be surprised if either team ran it. We know Ghost Peppers were pretty good at it first stage, but they aren't running the exact same lineup. So they've been showing us some pretty good dive tonight, and I'd like to keep seeing that. I would also like to see some continued like Sombra play. We only really saw it from Urushu, but Urushu had some really good moments on the last one, and Sombra. This is a very good Sombra map. So a couple different things we could see here, and I'd really interesting to see what teams both lock to start off with.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, as now it looks like we're getting an early sign of what the defense is going to be coming out with. As Rurushu coming out here on the McCree, I think they're trying to anticipate Commander Hui coming out on the Pharah here, because you see Magic Cat also on on the Ash. So double hit scan coming out from the other side here. So maybe they have just been a little bit wary of Commander Hui's aggressive Pharah, and they really want to shut that down.
Yeah, they are also on defense, so it looks like they're running to point with this, and it's a little bit just because with this support lineup, the DPS aren't as effective as with a Mercy as opposed to a Lucio, especially on defense, or even a Zen, because both McCree and Ash benefit a lot from that Discord or being able to potentially one-shot people in the case of Ash. So it's a little bit of disconnect between the roster, and Commander Hui starts off with an amazing pick from way downtown of Cat.
That was the first 2 rockets he shot out of spawn. And down goes Magic Cat here. Ghost Pepper's taking no prisoners here on point A, as they are already up 6-4 on people, and down go the rest of the members here as Two Shoes fighting for his life there behind the batteries, and down they go. And I think that might have been the quickest take I've ever seen on Volskaya.
It's definitely up there. That's one of those scenarios where I have to be thinking about what Cat was thinking, and they're not going to run far again, right? Because that spot is incredibly dangerous from spawn, and I don't even think they were like prepared for it mentally as soon as they came out and shot 2 rockets.
Well, welcome to the 7-minute club, Ghost Peppers, because that is very, very rare, as they're trying to see if they can snowball in. Commander Hui taking Cat down again. Cat just being like the focal point of those rockets from Commander Hui, as now he's just going ham and just taking everybody along with him. It looks like it's only going to be Fancy Bunny left. Fancy Bunny put him in a corner trying to hide. Pick Daddy in his face. Oh my god. There was just nothing they could do. They've just been gobsmacked here by the offense coming out from the Ghost Peppers, as it looks like they're going to be trying to now. Looks like the Wrecking Ball here will move people off the point a little bit, as now they're trying to looking like to stabilize, but Commander Hui having none of it, as H2O coming in with the nanoed Mercy, trying to take out anybody back. Maybe back there, Bomb actually is going to hit. Trash Panda has to run. More percentage coming up. 6-11 here. Gotta finish off Two Shoes, and one more person left here onto the point, and that is going to be that. Holy shnikes, that was fast.
Shnikes?
Shnikes. It is a word. For those who don't know, that was from Tommy Boy. Shows my age. If you've never seen that movie, you should go watch it. Great buddy movie starring Chris Farley and David Spade.
I honestly don't know what to say about that attack, because there was nothing very surprising coming out from the side of Ghost Peppers. The exact same comp they've been running every single time, but just I don't think they really have a good answer to this Pharah Widow combo.
You know
They're
what?
not used to playing these types of sight lines for it, for sure.
They prepped for it, and the problem was that as soon as Cat got just basically nailed by those 2 rockets, it's almost as if they just panicked. And then all of a sudden, you know, the aggression coming out from the Ghost Peppers. The Ghost Peppers, this was one of those things that I had mentioned in the Nest cast, is that the Ghost Peppers needed to be more aggressive. They needed to sort of push on their advantage, which is not something that we saw, remember, Pulse, in that match against them, against Boosted by the Way. And that's what Boosted by the Way sort of got them on. But now it looks like as they're getting picks, like with that one pick from Cat, it was just full go from the Peppers, and they just decided to just destroy what was remaining of the defense there on point A.
And this is a pretty interesting defense coming up. So it looks like they're going to do an Orisa high ground, which isn't unheard of, just not very common for this point. So we'll see how this goes. But knowing Thick Daddy's Roadhog and the Jackson Torb that we saw from Gibraltar, this could be something that just stumps the Megs.
Yeah, this might be something that, because people have seen ridiculous like comps, the same old, teams pulling out different things really mess with people. Oh, H2O got caught up on the ground and was unable to come back up to Commander Hui. A big mistake there by the Mercy. So very problematic here, as it looks like now Thick Daddy is going to try to see if he can make up for a little bit of the air. Mercy actually taking down Rurushu, but they've actually holed themselves up here on the other side here with the Mega Pack. So they're not going to be suffering from that big of an error. Oh, but Commander Hui gets taken out there. Very problematic now, as they are down 2. Jackson making up for it, as well as Nursey carrying on the Ana. My goodness, Cat gets taken out there by the turret there from Jackson, and now they're able to stabilize, but they're still at a disadvantage here.
Yeah, both teams are going to have to regroup, but Nursey really putting on her best Rouge Hong impression there, just taking down 2 people in between turret shots and making sure that the team can stabilize. Really good play right there. Absolutely.
They're going to need to focus on Chaos here, because I think that what they need to do is they need to get rid of that shield, because that shield with the turret is just doing so much damage and not allowing them to basically get in there. If you notice, like, actually the shield isn't covering the turret completely. Now they finally adjusted just to make sure.
Yeah, they're kind of fixing it as they go along. So
yeah,
nothing too surprising.
But this is somewhat problematic. Look at them. They're just trying to wrap around here. Thick Daddy is going to be the front line. They're just going to charge in there to see if they can get there. But no, there's going to be a Torbjorn spooging right there on the payload. Fancy Bunny is going to get taken out. He was the benefit of the Nano. Thick Daddy getting rezzed there, as it looks like they're going to be able to sort of respond, and now they're going to be rotating. Look at Chaos going back up. I think they're going to go back up to the high ground here and do what they wanted to do. 2 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, for this next fight, like, we see some switches coming out. They're popping the Cat back to Ana, so I don't know what that was. But they're coming up finally with Dragon Strike, and they're coming up with High Noon, which they decided to trash, so they're sort of trying to figure it out, it looks like, honestly, between them. But if they can get a good Shatter Dragon Strike, and also if they play this sort of left side of attack, it will cover a lot more of the turret damage, and they can just rush up and sort of fight them where they want to fight them, which is right up in their face with that Rein Zarya.
Yeah, well, that was actually a really, really good boop there by Rurushu, as they dislodged the members there on the high ground, which has forced Chaos and Thick Daddy to position themselves on the back corner, and now that shield is not going to be as active. Oh, hooked in the air, prevented from getting his Earth Shatter down. What a chain hook by Thick Daddy as he takes down Fancy Bunny, and again, the Roadhog extraordinaire is able to wipe out people onto the point, takes down Trash Panda. 1 minute left to go on the clock, and it's going to be another reset here coming in from the Megs.
And with only really 1 minute left to attack, and a Grav Dragon Strike, which is, if they don't get this Grav Dragon Strike, then they're probably not point A, honestly. They got 33%. Even if they do get this point A, though, then they're already at a 2-minute deficit to the Ghost Peppers attacking. Like I was kind of saying earlier, it just looks like they're more or less stumped. They're not used to teams playing these types of sight lines, not really giving them any advantage on a point. And they're kind of lost every time they're attacking. They're not really sure the best way to approach. They're not really, like, familiar with these types of strategies that they're putting out.
It's just been a while since people have seen all of this. Tire coming out from Commander Hui gets immediately destroyed, so it's not going to hit anybody. The grab is going to be free. It's just a matter of who they're going to be able to catch in it. And now they actually will grab the top side, and down goes everybody. They catch 3, and they might have caught the Bright 3 as they take down both supports and and Jackson. So now it's just going to be a matter of time here of them going to be able to clearing out. No Diva, meaning no chance of eating that ult, and now it looks like the Megs will get their 4 minutes here on point B.
They'll get their 4 minutes, but they're really going to have to make sure they put Barrage to good use. Because if they get stalled anymore, this map is going to look a lot like Gibraltar and how hopeless it might be.
Yeah, Magic Cat there taking out Jackson's turret from long, long range. So Jackson still holding on to that Torbjorn, being maybe a little stubborn here, but a Torbjorn defense here, it can actually work. Just dependent on where you can put the turret, so it's just out of range, so it doesn't get picked off from long, long distances. They're being very aggressive, fighting out on the far side here, but Two Shoes gets killed, takes down both the front line and an ult here from Jackson as he was holding on to that ult. It was probably the reason why he was still on Torbjorn, but they take everybody down. 3 minutes here on the clock. They're going to give themselves a great time here on the point B take. It looks like Thick Daddy trying to come in, not going to be able to stop anyone. Nobody coming in here for the Ghost Peppers. Nano Chaos here is able to sort of slow them down, but he's asleep, gets Earth Shattered, still shot. Now it looks like he's going to finally get charged as Fancy Bunny here finally is going to charge him back into the corner, and Thick Daddy comes back here onto the, on with the ball, and they do capture point B in a bit of a snowball here, Pulse, as we go again.
That was exactly what they needed to make sure that they were still alive in this matchup. While they only have 3 minutes left, that's still 3 minutes that they have to attack point A next time. And not quite the normal amount of time you get to start, but it's very close to it, and actually makes it so that they have a sort of a fighting chance at this last round. Potentially last round, I should say. Volskaya could easily go 6-6 if they just pull exactly what they just did for both sides again, and, you know, just take 2 minutes off, take both points, easy.
Yeah, and the
Final
thing about
score,
it,
7-8, let's go.
highest on this I've ever seen is 7-6. 7-6 was the highest I've ever seen. So, like, I don't know if this could do it, but if they could snowball, if the Megs are able to snowball them again, then we might be able to see it. But now some switches coming up as Jackson will not pull out the Torbjorn this time, as they were sort of close to a full hold there, but that Grav Dragon was the one that really sort of knocked them off their perch. Not going to be able to do anything about that. So now he will go to the Ash. Commander Hui's here still sticking on the Pharah. They have no answer to Commander Hui, so this is going to be a huge problem for them on this offense, and they need to get early picks, Pulse. I don't know what else I can say about this.
Yeah, they need to make sure that they basically press W, but also make sure that they click heads while pressing W, or else that they're not really going to get anywhere. So as long as they're able to make sure that Commander Hui cannot get full sightlines on him and play around these corners and mitigate all damage by going through these covered flanks on their way to the point, that's their best shot at getting as much progress on point A as possible. Commander Hui's playing right side for the attacker, so they need to make sure they get into this left side as fast as possible.
Yeah, Chaos there got grenaded, so it's very, very problematic. Thick Daddy actually trying to bait them into a small area. Absolutely is able to do so. Now they're sort of trapped in there. Commander Hui has free range to just sort of fire on the tank line that was baited into the area on the side here. Great job by Thick Daddy there, luring them into the side, and they just chased right on after them. Now it's going to be a reset here, and they're able to kill off a minute of the clock here. That was in the time bank for the Megs.
Yeah, and a minute down is something you don't want to be 3 minutes to begin with. But we see the switch instantly. Rurushu goes back to Pharah, so they're going to have a way to test this. But we really need to see the DPS follow along with the tank line. Last time we saw Fancy Bunny and Two Shoes get into that side room, but Magic Cat and Rurushu were just so far behind the team that they weren't able to take any cover from the far, and they end up dying early because of it. So now that they're making their way in, both teams are having counter fars. They want to mitigate this damage like I mentioned last time, but also they want to make sure that their supports and all their lagging DPS are able to get in as well.
Well, Rurushu there gets a big kill on Chaos, so that was the opening that they needed. They need to get that res off if they're going to be able to get to try to be able to hold this, or a counter kill here onto Fancy Bunny. Nursey here under extreme pressure. Rurushu takes down Jackson, so they're up 2 on this fight. Now it's just going to be a matter of who else goes down. Rurushu takes H2O down, so this might be just a matter of time here before the rest of the Ghost Peppers start to fall. Thick Daddy here trying his best to sort of hold off by himself. Chaos coming back as a Diva Bomb actually gets dropped onto the point. That's forcing them to sort of come off, burning more time here onto the time bank. Nano boost now here onto Chaos here, trying to just sort of stall as best as he can, and now he's trying to see if he can pick anybody off, as it looks like here he's going after the Mercy, who's trapped in the room. Does take him down, but kills still coming the way here of the Megs. It's just probably going to be a matter of time now. They just want to sort of kill off, make sure that they can get into overtime. But no, they're not going to give it up that easily. Commander Hui with a big barrage here. There's nobody going to be able to block it. Two Shoes able to get back into the mech, is going to reset with the rest of his team. Very tough hold there from the Ghost Peppers, as they're able to hold it with 15 seconds left to go.
Yeah, but if they're able to regroup and push A before we see H2O get back, then they still have a shot at this. Even though they sort of H2O got off that res that saved the point, it's still 5v6 for the next 5 seconds or so.
Yeah, Thick Daddy gets slept here into the background, and H2O needs to get away as soon as they can. Bob actually getting sent onto the point here, and now is going to have to deal with Two Shoes here onto the point and contest at the same time. bomb by Two Shoes here. Not going to be able to get anybody pretty much as Fancy Bunny finally takes out Jackson's Bob. But that's going to be that. What a hold here from the Ghost Peppers as they're able to sort of push back the offense of the Megs here.
And I really got to say that after that round, we saw a lot of similar problems that the Megs had come up again. And it was just like minor plays here and there. We see players individually doing really well, but just they need to work together a little bit more. H2O got off that more or less a free res on Chaos. And then Commander Hui came in with a barrage, but because they're already down after Chaos got res, they weren't able to target focus and clean up. So just plays like that we need to see the Megs clutch a little bit harder if they really want to win this map or even draw this map and try and take a series. But it's going to be very, very hard to even win this map with 6 minutes for the attackers.
Yeah, the thing about it is they're staring down the barrel of a 6-minute time bank. But remember the way the format works, they were already down 0-2 going into this map, so a draw literally kills it for them. So now the Ghost Peppers literally can just draw this map out and will win the map. Will win the match. There's nothing the Megs can do about it, unfortunately, just the way that this format works with this 4-game format. So they're just not going to be able to do anything. So the win here will go to the to the Ghost Peppers automatically because of that. And now it's just going to be a matter of map differential at this point. So if they can pick up this map and try to improve their differential, that's what they're going to want to do. It looks like here they're just going with Jackson on the Reaper and Commander Hui here on the Symmetra, and they're going to try to teleport.
And they're going to go wide. They're going to go left over the gap.
Okay. Jackson fell into the drink as they were trying to go wide, so the element of surprise not necessarily going to be with them now, as Jackson's not going to be able to join them, and now all 5 of them are trapped in this little tiny hole. Got to be really careful about getting booped. I don't know if they might want to just go for a reset at this point, or what, or maybe get somebody out of the mech, or maybe kill them down, but Commander Hui D-Mex Two Shoes here, as it looks like Jackson's trying to backcap as he's gotten to the point here, and will try to see if he can actually hold it with the Reaper. He takes Magic Cat down, and the rest of the members of the Ghost Peppers coming in, and Commander Hui doing a number here on the Symmetra as they're trying to figure out what was going on. The big debate was on. Jackson now benefiting from the nano boost here. All they got to do is get Two Shoes down. The shield comes up, and that is going to be that the Ghost Peppers win, even though Ghost Peppers actually sacrificed one of their players at the beginning of the fight.
And we see Nut come back in with the sassy comments saying tactical suicide. So
yes, when your coach says that was tactical suicide, you know it was. So yeah, congratulations to the Ghost Peppers. They win that map in a very unusual way, but they do take the map. What is it? 3-2.
That's how we do.
Yeah, that ended up being the final score. And again, that was going to be one of those scenarios, just like Gibraltar, where it's very hard to hold. So I don't fully expect that's going to be one of those things that where if you're the Megs, you have to be like, okay, well, we finished the map. We just need to do it better next time and maybe figure out your defense. So, like I said, a lot of good things coming out from both sides, but just the Ghost Peppers honestly looking like a Masters team right now.
They're looking very, very strong, and they were one of the teams that I had picked to make it all the way, I think, to the end. I think it'll be interesting to see them play Boosted by the Way again. I think they do play them again here in this stage 2, so it'll be very interesting to see what the results of that match is with the revamped DPS lineup and this aggression that we see from them. Their willingness to sort of change up comps and have this sort of pharmacy in the air that people didn't see last stage is going to be very, very problematic for teams. But now we go into our final map, and it is the hybrid map, and it is my least favorite hybrid map of all hybrid maps. It is Numbani. So
that's news to me. I didn't realize you hated Numbani that much.
I don't. When given the opportunity of all the other hybrid maps, I think this is the least favorite. I like King's Row. I like what is it?
Okay, fair.
Blizzard World, even to a point, is interesting, just because of the way that it moves. This is the weirdest one because defense actually has an advantage on point A compared to the other ones that I just mentioned. So the spawn difference, this distance between for the defense and the offense, it's actually easier for the defense to make it to the point than it is for the offense. So
And I do think Numbani is one of the maps, especially in pro level Overwatch, where we see the most like full holds, like
mhm.
teams not capping any of A or not even capping A at all. So for sure, the defense spawn is a lot closer. Also, the defense high ground is incredibly strong. It's very easy to sort of, if you lose a fight, to have everyone get back in position and recontest a 6 very easily. So a lot of things going for the defense on A. But it's also sort of weird because C is strong, but B is basically, if you cap A, you should get B too. So
yeah.
very, very unique map in Overwatch, and it definitely has some weird quirks to it that you really need to get used to if you want to perform well on it.
Absolutely. And now Ghost Peppers are going to be rejiggering their lineup here. Gas Roll going to be coming back into the lineup as they are basically making sure that everybody gets a turn here. Ghost Boast now, we haven't seen him since the first map, will be coming in for the Peppers here. Looks like for Jackson, who gets a much needed rest after playing as much as he did and doing as much as he did, which includes teleporting right into the liquid there in Volskaya. Forgetting to turn around. That one's always funny because that's happened to me, folks. That doesn't happen to just people on the screen that you're watching. People who don't put the teleporter far enough onto the platform forget that you are a little disoriented when you come out of the teleporter. So,
well, one of the funny things about that teleporter is if too many people teleport at once, the models kind of like squish together and it forces someone back. So if you're the last one to teleport, sometimes it just like forces you back into the drink, and it's kind of funny.
Yeah, and that's I think
when
that's
I
what
play
happened.
that strat, I'm normally the sim, so I've had plenty of experience of my teammates blaming me.
It's almost as a sim, you have to say one at a time, children, one at a time.
You have to make sure everyone's holding down W the whole time.
Yeah.
Stalls, you have to keep moving, and it's just like herding sheep a little bit. But
yeah, and the thing
you gotta
about it
run the
is,
strat a couple times so that doesn't happen in actual games.
well, I wanted to see a teleporting Bastion, but we were never going to see that on offense. But what they did was actually pretty cool itself. So now here we go into Numbani, both sides not switching. So it will be the Ghost Peppers here on offense first, as the Megs here will be on D. Ghost Peppers going for a 4-0, trying to improve their map differential here. Just a little bit more. This is a big hit to the map differential for the Megs. They were only one away from third place with regards to their plus 19 map differential. Now, down 0-3, they're at 16, and they don't want to go even lower than that because it's going to be a fight for positioning here, and I don't know if any team wants to play Boosted, by the way, in the semifinals.
Yeah, for sure. Boosted is a very scary team to go up against. We've casted, I think, 1 or 2 games with them, and they just... I'd like to see them this stage, honestly, because I think the Ghost Peppers would give them a real good run for their money running their A squad. But still, last squad, they kind of already had their teamwork down, and some teams that are still kind of getting it together that might improve this stage are still going to have to go up against a team that's been more or less there since stage 1, and that's more than a month of team experience already behind you.
Exactly. Now we're going to get started here, as it looks like the Megs here will be starting old school wise with the soldier on defense. Rurushu coming out here with the soldier. This is not something I haven't. This is something I haven't seen in a while. You position the soldier in a far distant area, in maybe in the back corner here where Magic Cat is, and you just let him sort of fire away on people sort of diving in onto your back lines or from the high ground. So very interesting, going a little old school here with the dive soldier.
A little bit. One thing I'd like to point out again is because I've been pretty much all night where they have a very decent looking comp except for like one thing. And in this case, I'd really like to see Trash Can and Sevon and Lucio on like a Zen or something again. Just because the Lucio will not get as much sort of advantage healing only 2 people, whereas you can have a Discord and a Farming or hold up with like the soldier on in the back corner. So we'll see how it plays out for them. And it's something your practice can still work and sound barrier is good. But it's just one of those like minor optimization things that they might want to think about working on.
Yeah, and that might be because it could be because Trash Panda might be uncomfortable playing on Zen, but as the engage starts here, Rurushu gets taken down, and it looks like they're already down 2 here onto the defense. Ghostbo's taking Cat out along with it, so now it's just going to be a matter of seeing whether or not they can focus fire and clear out this point. Ghost Pepper's doing a very, very good job here, and an ult already here from Chaos as he's able to sort of knock people around left and right. Magic Cat here is going to get taken out. as Lord here in the background trying to sort of defend, but not going to be able to do so. That cleave damage when Chaos came in was so beneficial. He built up his ult so fast.
And when you're fighting into a team that's all holed up, you can build Primal stupid fast. Like, we've been seeing it a lot in Overwatch League level GOATs play. Is if Winston can tase 6 people, you're building an ult once every, like, I think 30 seconds, they said?
Something like
that,
yeah.
So it's something you have to be very careful about. We do see a couple things coming up for the defense that will give them a chance to hold, namely that Nano Blade and potentially a zoning bomb. But they're having 5 or so ults come up, which is a pretty good way to shut down this push.
Oh, it looks like Rurushu going to be coming out here with the visor, something we haven't seen in a while. That's an ult that I haven't called here in a while. So it looks like they're going to be able to push them back. Great rocket taking down that guy Tyler, and Gasroll getting DMEG, bomb getting sent all the way to spawn here, and Rurushu shutting down that push very, very well there with the soldier.
Yeah, incredibly good, especially with Valkyrie. High Noon and Soldier ult were basically the only 2 things that can really shut down and let the Mercs just kind of sitting still. So very good use of more or less only the Soldier ult to just shut down that push, taking down both Chaos, H2, and just end the game.
And now they're going to be following this up with a Blade, as both Commander Hui and Magic Cat are going to be coming in with Nano Blades. Commander Hui got 2. Magic Cat here going for 1, gets 1, but it looks like they're going to get the advantage here, as everybody's going to have to come back to spawn. Looks like Commander Hui was way too far out. He finishes off Magic Cat here, but now it's just going to be the DPS versus the tank lines, as it looks like Ghost Boat actually gets taken out. But Commander Hui wins the battle against Jumper, and now because their spawn is so close, they're going to be able to come back in. Gasroll was de-mech'd, so he's going to be trying to get his mech back, but the advantage here definitely with the Peppers.
Yeah, and Gasroll's definitely going to have a mech back, already at 95%. This is going to be a 4v6 4-point B at this point. And there's really no ults online other than Ghost Barrage. So if they set up for a barrage properly, they can make sure that no one in Megs can even touch.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to try to see if they can hard push and hold on to this point. As, Ghost got slept and taken out as he was trying to barrage. Diva Bomb gets set. It's going to clear everybody out. Trash Panda able to stay alive. Using the payload, as Lord of Lolly's going to be trying to get demech'd here. Actually uses his bomb, takes Ghost Boast out, so it looks like it might be a bit of a hold here. Commander Hui building up another Blade again, trying to see if he can get anybody down, gets Trash Panda, and now it's just a matter of whether or not he can get anybody else. H2O gets Magic Cat down. That Battle Mercy doing a number here onto the backline. Tyler getting 2 of his own, and now it's just a matter of clearing out Jumper. Chaos is asleep there, not going to be able to sort of help until he wakes up. Finally is up, and now, but it might be too little too late here. Jumper finally going down, and the payload actually will cap point B.
Yeah, point B is finally taken, but they do make sure that a large number of ults on both sides are blown. So coming into this last point C fight, given that both teams are a Winston, they're probably going to be wanting to switch to a Ryan more or less sooner or later, just because Winston's a little bit weaker. But if Rurushu can end this next fight early by shutting someone down with his visor, then they can make sure that they stop it at this choke and give them advantages as an defensive.
Yeah, as Magic Cat with the Blade here gets slept down, trying to keep him up, as it looks like the Winston Chaos trying to focus down on the Genji, not going to be able to do so. He doesn't want to pull out his Blade yet, and here it comes. Blade from Magic Cat gets right into a barrage and gets taken out. Nothing he can do, and Commander Hui with a Blade of his own is going to be able to take out people. Looks like they're going to win this fight, and it's going to be just Lord here on the point, gets taken out. My goodness, it was trading of the ults. Magic Cat couldn't get the Blade out in time, and now Ghost Pepper's just going to be holding by the door. Are they going to be able to close it out? They have 3 people on the point. Magic Cat finally comes in. Lucio ult comes out. Commander Hui takes down Rurushu, but not before he takes out that guy Tyler. So this looking like a hold now as Magic Cat gets 2. 2:43 on the clock. I think Chaos and Gasroll are going to have to back up. Not going to be able to do anything. Gasroll is going to jump off, and it's a reset here from the Peppers.
Yeah, final fight finally held, but we're in a scenario where they have 2.5 minutes. Point C. It's not unheard of for a full hold, but it is going to be a little bit on the tough side. So not completely impossible. We do see a couple switches coming out, and it looks like Ghost Peppers are committing to a full dive comp, which is kind of interesting given that how flat point C is. It's something that normally you'd run around Ghost Over as opposed to dive. But if this is something they want to practice or potentially get better on, it's a very good time to try it out.
Well, maybe it's because they see Rurushu there, and they don't want to deal with the Pharah into this area, so Ghost Post was the one who went to Tracer. As Commander Hui is able to sort of build up as fast as he can here, going right after the Ana, down to goes Cat, and he's going to get his blade relatively quickly. They've been racing on both sides to get their blade. Magic Cat finally gets the blade, but Knight not have enough health to actually pull it off. Lord takes out that guy, Tyler. Commander Hui gets his blade, and is not going to be able to use it either, as now it looks like it's going to be a matter of the tanks clearing everybody out. The payload's still moving here as the wings popped by H2O, trying to deal with anybody left onto the payload. Ghostpost trying to deal with that nano. Winston puts a bomb on him. Finally down he goes. Diva Bomb onto the point to clear them out. Magic Cat takes down H2O. This defense has been staunch here by the Megs as the Ghost Peppers are rebuffed. Again, Magic Cat getting killed there at the very end, but that's not going to bother them at all.
Every time stalls come out, we've seen the Megs. They're able to... But if they aren't able to shut down this blade soon, then it's going to be a quick fight.
Yeah, as a High Noon comes out by Rurushu, but he immediately gets sent out into the nether, as it looks like they were immediately going for another engage again. 51 seconds here left on the clock, as this has just turned into a giant brawl. Lord gets demeched, and that's going to be big, but so does Gas Roll. So it's going to be down to the DPS here if they can be able to do anything. Jumper being a menace there on the Angry Monkey in the background. Res doesn't come off here for H2O, as he was going for a res, doesn't get it. And now we're in last chance saloon time here for the Ghost Peppers.
30 seconds left, and is all they have left to take point C. And even if they do, they're only going to end up with a minute max on the next round. So this is a very... Exactly what... They've been given the opportunity to take these more stally, brawly type fights. And with spawn advantage being so close, they've managed to win every single one thus far. So coming into this last fight, we really need to see a big pulse bomb to start off this fight, or else they're going to have a lot of trouble breaking this 3-4 ults coming up for the Megs.
Yeah, the problem was that Chaos committed the big feed there at the beginning as he was taken out. High Noon takes out that guy, Tyler, and this sort of modified Goats comp here not going to be able to work out. Gas Roll does get a kill on Trash Panda, but a Diva Bomb gets sent into the back. It's going to zone them out. Slowly but surely, it looks like the Megs are going to be able to hold this, as a blade coming out by Magic Cat is going to finish them out. Chaos finally comes back here onto the Wrecking Ball, but that's not going to be able to do anything. Overtime ticks down, and that is that. Them losing Chaos there right before the final fight was so huge. They weren't able to push 6v6, and I think that cost them there at the end.
Switching sides.
Definitely cost them. That's something that going into the last fight as a main tank you absolutely cannot do. And that's kind of... I've had my fair share of those moments, so I understand the absolute sheer pain that it's you going into the last fight, you're setting up, and all of a sudden you're dead. Just sitting there on the ground, you see your ragdoll fly off into the sky. But alas, they got it almost all the way to point C, and that's very good for any escort, any map. Most of the time, these escort maps very much favor the defense, so getting as far as they did, it's not going to be an easy win for the Megs, but it is probably the most winnable game we've seen tonight for them. So this is really their chance to make sure that they don't go 0-4.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, too, that if they can finish this off, they have shown they have a pretty decent propensity on sort of escort maps. We saw them sort of do a really, really good job on the second map tonight. So let's see what they can do here. But remember, this is a hybrid map, so the escort phase doesn't actually come into play until they can win this point, and that could be a big problem for them if they're not able to break this sort of defense that comes out here. And it'll be a classic dive defense with a pharmacy. So Commander Hui and Ghost Post are going to be sort of main DPSing here, pushing out. Rocket's going to be sort of coming in onto this sort of dive coming out from the other side here. But I see Rurushu on a Sombra, so this could be big here. They could play for the EMP and just sort of go in on that. So let's see what they do. Rurushu already sort of positioning herself, trying to get around into an area where she can be a menace on that Sombra, but Ghost Post with a big rocket onto Trash Panda. We've seen that before, where a rocket has taken out an Ana and just sort of stalled a push pulse.
Rurushu's getting a little bit ahead of his team right now, and it's in the backline. If they get picked, then it's going to be a huge sort of misplay, but as long as they distract everyone else on the Ghost Peppers, this might be a free entry card for Megs.
Yeah, it looks like here the Megs here have rotated around and are going around the backside. They're trying to see if they can maybe push off, because they are very close to a ledge there, so they want to be super, super careful. We are playing on all high grounds here, as they are trying to sort of send rockets in. No kills yet, as both just basically poking. Uh-oh, Rurushu got picked off, was caught into the background, only was able to get 31%, but their team is making up for it as the pharmacy goes down, and that is huge. Ghost Boast looks like gas roll able to be taken down here, and now it looks like no punishment for that lost Sombra in the beginning, as it looks like the Ghost Peppers here are going to be taken out. It's only going to be Chaos here left onto the point, but the Megs here are going to cap point A, I think.
It looks like they're going to, because it's going to be hard for a Pharmacy to reach by themselves, even though they do have a barrage, so they're probably likely first point right around the corner after they cap this. And what happened at that last fight too was pretty interesting. It was Rurushu got slept, but that guy Tyler ended up calling back half of his team to kill him when it was one of those scenarios where that should have been enough. So by making his team blow some of those essential cooldowns to kill the Sombra, they end up more or less giving away point for free.
Yeah, so little mistake there by the Ghost Peppers as Lord actually gets taken out. And now that payload has started to move, Commander Hui now slept onto the point, is probably going to be fine, as the rest of the Megs here have to sort of fall back. But it's spawn camping time, Pulse. They're going to try to see if they can just sort of keep him in spawn here and not make sure that they can come out. Magic Cat already sneaking out from the far side. We're going to send rockets in. Now it's just about making space for your team and yourself, as it looks like Chaos here is going to be popping an ult as Barrage comes out here from Magic Cat, taken out, but not before the rest of the team actually takes out two, as Chaos and Gasroll gets demeched. It looks like Commander Hui here, trying to sort of stay alive, is going to have to run, but H2O here in the area is able to get away. What a mercy there. Commander Hui takes out Cat in the process, and now they're going to have to sort of slow down here. 3:45, plenty of time here on the clock, but back into spawn they go.
Yeah, but Chaos is still walking back, so the attackers still have a little bit of a spawn advantage and really force back the defenders right now if they want to sort of start getting set up now. Chaos is just back, and they're looking for a way to hold at this corner still, but as long as Magic Cat keeps getting these far rockets off and keeps them inside this left, then they're going to have full control over where they want to take this fight.
Yeah, Rurushu here, not flanking or anything, just going to be staying onto the payload. Might not necessarily be the right thing to do, but it ends up being the right thing to do, as he's able to cake out Commander Hui with a big hack and a kill right away. Diva Bomb getting sent back into the back area, combined with the EMP, takes out both Chaos and Ghost Boat, and now they've made tons of space for themselves here, as H2O now has to be in full retreat, as that guy Tyler here is going to try to avoid from getting killed. Gas roll getting clicked off there at the very end, and now it's going to be a matter of where can Ghost Pepper stop them before the end of point B.
With how the card's progressing, it looks like they're going to be able to get, but we're in the same type of territory that we were last fight. If Magic Cat sets up for this barrage properly, especially having the Nano and Valkyrie, a ton of amount of resources they can use to make sure that no one on Ghost Peppers can even touch.
Yeah, so, two big kills already as Commander Hui and H2O go down. Got a Nano boosted Chaos here into the background, but he's not going to be really able to do much. He's going to be able to just sort of stall the point, and that is going to be that. Jumper now getting the benefit of a Nano boost of his own, but Gas Roll there pushing the members back a little bit, trying to see if they can get some space. Ult coming out here from Chaos, but Gas Roll pays for it with his mech. So now it looks like Rurushu building up that EMP, has it already, and now just looking for a spot to use it. That guy Tyler playing very aggressively on that Ana, being very far forward here. But now it looks like they're going to have to use an ult here, try to get Jumper out to try to move all the members out. EMP actually will only get 2 members here, as Chaos and H2O are the only 2 ones that actually get caught. This actually is 0.26 left here, but now slowly but surely the Megs here are going to clear out the point, and they're going to be able to demech Gas Roll here and take this point B.
Yeah, eventually, after many ults and much time lost there are a couple of moments where they could have closed that out a bit earlier, such as when it's just, I believe, Chaos and that guy Tyler alone on point. They decided to try and focus down the Nano Winston instead of just taking the free Onyx pit. And had they taken the Onyx pick, they might have been able to cap it a minute and a half earlier. So they're still rolling into this last area, last zone, with a Barrage, a Nano coming up, and also a Valkyrie. So same type of scenario where we've had it before, when they were trying to take point B, but they're already starting off with a hack on H2O and a pretty big opening for this far to do whatever she wants.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, Rurushu now making sure being a menace there into the back line. And now they're trying to push here onto the Peppers. Nano Boost going on to Jumper here, trying to see if he can get any supports. H2O goes really low, and they're able to knock down both H2O and that guy Tyler. EMP hits right onto the point. High Noon from Ghost Post takes out both supports here on the back end, but that's not going to be enough here. Commander Hui, realizing that there's only DPS here, is deciding to going to go for it. Here comes the Nano Blade. Can he get anybody down? Jumper has maybe too much HP, but Commander Hui takes down 3 with the big swipes. 144 on the clock. What a rescue there by the Ghost Peppers.
That was unfortunate because as soon as Commander Hui used first dash and got pulled out his blade, instantly got hacked. But everyone was already in range of his blades. All he needed to do was stand and spin while swinging when he got hit. So, not quite fast enough, but enough to do what he needed to do there with that big nano blade.
Yeah, a bomb actually getting sent here into the background. They're going to try to engage with it. Doesn't get anyone. Magic Cat actually gets taken out by Ghost Post. So looks like Commander Hui does take down Rurushu too. 1 minute left on the clock here. I would suggest a retreat here from the Megs as they need to sort of regather themselves as 2 members are down already. Trash Panda getting separated out. That is not a good thing. That's taken out. Lord of Lollies actually finally gets taken out to the High Noon. Might have want to save that for the final push here. 49 seconds left to go.
I have to think that was a mind games High Noon. High Noon we already know isn't one of the most effective ults, but High Nooning a baby diva who was slept was... I feel like they're just toying with Lord at this point. So
yeah,
they're coming into this last fight with another Nano, which is a Nano Primal. They have all the resources they need to make sure they stall us out. They really shouldn't take this while Rurushu's down, especially given how close to an EMP Rurushu's coming up with. But they really need to make sure they're tracking this Nano and this Diva Bomb, because if they're caught off guard or with their pants down again, then this is going to be a very, very short 15 seconds without overtime.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that Rurushu needed to stay alive. She needed that like extra 10 seconds there to build up some ult percentage. It would definitely help out in this fight. As a blade comes in again, as the swipes coming in, as Commander Hui doing what he does best with the Nano Blade, taking 3 more down, as the fight has just completely swung into the favor of the Ghost Peppers here. Bomb getting sent up into the air, positioned very, very well here. Jumper really low now. Can they get him off the point? Down he goes. Overtime starting to tick down. No Megs in sight. And they get the 4-0 there, Pulse. My goodness, Commander Hui was huge there on that final push.
Definitely play of the game had to have been one of Commander Hui's many 3K drag blades, because every single time we saw this blade and every time we said, watch out for this blade coming up, you'd still somehow manage to get a 3K, 4K with him. And this is exactly the hack one that I've mentioned, where he gets nanoed and everyone's just right in front of him. Even
you know, they say you should spread out. You know, a lot of the times when an EMP comes in, I think offensive teams forget that they need to spread out too sometimes a little bit, just to make sure that, like, you know, if somebody's coming at you, you don't get hit all at once by one Dragon Blade. So unfortunately, the Megs here unable to cap a map. It is all the Ghost Peppers looking very strong coming off of the break. All right, that was a fantastic match there with the Ghost Peppers and the Megs. Joining us as a special guest here today, it is going to be Chaos, the main tank here from the Ghost Peppers. Chaos, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, Hodo. How are you guys doing today?
We're absolutely fantastic. A 4-0 win here over the Megs, Chaos. Tell me a little bit about the match. I mean, you guys did really, really well there. Was there any special strategies going in to face the Megs tonight?
Yeah, we did have a couple. We were trying to run more dive-oriented comps, both for practice for our team, as well as because we found that we wanted to do stuff that was a little bit more spread out against them, because we found them to be really strong, really aggressive team. So we were trying to figure out like kind of ways to play into that might give us an advantage. Seemed to work well. Our dive is getting a little bit better, so we're seeing, I guess, rewards from that. I guess we would say.
Yeah, so it seemed like it. You guys ran nothing but pretty much goats last stage because of the lack of the DPS. But now you've got very active DPS players with Commander Hui joining, as well as Thick Daddy coming in, who is a great diva but an outstanding Roadhog. How do you think that the new players, especially like and that guy Tyler and Jackson popping off on the Widow, how have the new players incorporated with the rest of the team?
I think, well, they're still relatively new. We're really glad to have them though, because of course it's always better to have more active, more a little bit of different specialties among our players. So far we've had them for I think 3 scrims, kind of on and off. A couple people only had 2, a couple people only have 1. I actually missed one yesterday myself. But the main thing is we started kind of incorporating them in, and they're fitting in pretty well for us right now. We got like Commander Huey, as you guys know, really good projectile DPS player. So he's fitting really in with us too, because we didn't really have a projectile DPS player. We kind of had like a rotation kind of thing going on. But we have like Jackson, once he's doing his thing still, memeing his way to victory in some ways. But we got him. Thick Daddy is a great addition too, because unfortunately our other off tank dynamics, he's had some stuff come up. He's not able to play with us right now. But it's good because we have him. We have him as our like Hog Zarya, Hog Diva kind of thing, and
Hmm.
we still have gas for our Diva Zarya comps as well. And then Tyler's great. I got some good things to say about him. He's very good with us, like to kind of come in on some maps, and he helps me with like the shot calling and stuff as we're playing. So it's nice to have another loud voice on the team. Kind of, I mean, we had him in for Gibraltar, and it seemed to work pretty well for us for like decisions and stuff like that. And we have also our sub Osiren as well for our healing
Yeah.
substitute. He's doing really well. I think he hasn't had a chance to play yet, um, but hopefully we'll get him in probably on Tuesday or something like that.
Pulse, any questions for Mr. Chaos?
Yeah, well, I'm sure you'll if you go back and watch the video, you'll hear us talking about you guys pretty much all night because we were very, very sort of surprised to see how quickly you guys managed to integrate the new team members. Like you look very much like a team. We were saying just everything about it was happening very fluidly given that it's the first week of a new season. We kind of expected some teams to maybe be a little rusty, but after this match you guys are a very solid second place behind Boosted. I was kind of wondering for when you guys do come up against Boosted, how do you have any like message for them, or do you have any sort of do you want to go on with some shit talk against Boosted, I guess is what I'm asking.
Unfortunately, currently, as far as I'm aware, we actually are not playing boosted this stage. I think.
Oh,
I think
okay.
they're one of the teams that
Ooh.
we're not playing. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'd have to double check with like the schedule and stuff like that. But I I think they're not playing us this season, because I know we had a couple last season, like Chinese Takeout, we didn't end up playing.
Hmm.
Of course, they came in late, but the team that they replaced, we didn't play either. And then, of course, we're going against Vote Meme today. But I think we're probably going to end up meeting them in the finals, hopefully, if everything goes well. So I'd like to say, I'm excited to play against them, really. I don't really want to, like, shit talk them because they're a very excellent team, I have to admit. And they seem very dedicated
Mhm.
to this. I hear they have a lot of scrims and stuff like that.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, but all I can say against that is we'll do our best and we're gonna try to dethrone them.
So,
Hopefully.
like, so when we watched you play last time, you did play
hmm
boosted and you lost. I think 3-1 was the score that when you did play boosted. I
I
think.
believe so. I think
Yeah.
it was 3-1 or 4-0. I forget. I
Yeah. It
think it
was.
was 3-1, but I was pretty sure they were sandbagging us on the map.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Well, the thing about it is that I think there were earlier parts on that map where you guys weren't following up on some of your
hmm
kills very aggressively enough. You were forced to play goats, of course, because of the way that their team was sort of lined up. But there were distinct advantages that I saw that it wasn't able to happen, and we were actually commenting on that match. We were saying it's like, look, I think aggression might be a problem with regards to them in this configuration trying to sort of finish up stuff. That didn't look like the case at all here because there were occasions where Commander Hui would be getting like a kill almost instantaneously and you were on their backs immediately right away and the Megs sort of collapsed. Were you sort of like was there in the scrims like an effort to basically say, "Hey, look, after getting the advantage just to go out and use your aggression to just sort of say, hey, look, we're not going to sit on our laurels after getting a pick. We're just going to go out there and make sure that we can press our advantage and make sure you can do that. Because on Volskaya especially, it seemed like you just sort of beat them into submission after point A, and then point B, they just had no answer for you as you just sort of kept coming at them.
Yeah, I'd say it's one thing we've been kind of consistently working on at the beginning. We've had kind of a difference in ideals from the start as
Mm-hmm.
well. Unfortunately, a couple of like I'm overly aggressive. I'm not going to deny that. One of my biggest Achilles heels in this game and group in general is I tend to overextend myself, die, as you guys probably saw in Numbani. I got a little bit concerned and I got a little bit aggressive. It took me out because the time was right now and I kind of panicked a bit. I thought it was like
Yeah.
the only option, but before we had this discongruity, we actually had our main healer, Rokurian, really amazing main healer, really good. He's a bit more passive though.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think we kind of did that where it was like I would get aggressive with like Jackson or our Diva or whatever, and we'd have that discontinuity. Unfortunately, as far as I've been told, he has decided not to rejoin us for stage 2. I don't know. I think he got busy with stuff. He wasn't going to be able to make playoffs, from my understanding as well, because he had some business in Korea. But so it seemed like he decided to back out. We brought in Osiren, and we're trying to incorporate that. But now we have Nerfsy on the main heals, as you
Mm-hmm.
guys saw tonight for a bit. And we have our off healer being rotating between like H2O, that guy Tyler, and that guy Tyler is also rotating the main heals. So it's kind of a difference, I think, there too. So we're trying to get that. And now that we have DPS like Commander Huey and stuff like that, where we have the projectile and we have that high damage output, we're
Mm-hmm.
able to take advantage of that and kind of move in a little bit faster, I think. It's still being worked out. Plus, going in against the Megs here, we expected them to be really, really aggressive because, like, watching their games, they're a really strong team when it comes to that. They get a kill, they go full power too. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they do.
They
Mm-hmm.
don't give that moment. They're good. I watched some of their games. I forget who it was against, but on Rialto, they just completely like steamrolled their way through with like one person on the point. Really good game coming out from them there, and like, oh, GG's to them as well tonight. It was a lot of fun playing against them. They had us scared for a while because we thought that they were going to be like our Achilles heel here.
Mm-hmm.
But like we wanted to, in this game especially, be aggressive with them and take advantage of that so they can't turn it around and do the same to us.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Like
that's
we
a
didn't want to give them that opportunity to roll us,
Yeah, and that's
so
a
to
good
speak.
strategy. So I wanted to tell you, like, what I had prepped for the nest, and I'm actually
Hmm.
going to be on the nest again on Wednesday. Well, we're specifically talking about this match because there are 4 matches that we're going to be focusing on the nest. What I
Well, I'm
wanted
excited for it.
yeah, what I wanted to say about you as my focus player for the majors was that I think with the changes, the Ghost Peppers have a very good shot at winning the title. The problem is that can Chaos keep his exuberance controlled? So my I think Connor has mentioned it to you a lot about feeding.
Hmm.
And we
Yeah,
saw it
that's
we saw it at the end of Numbani there where you were picked off right before the final push, and it's those little tiny errors that are saying it's like they're going to either going to win it on his back or they're going to lose it on his back. So I think you've got a very, very hard task in front of you because you've got this
yes.
entire stage and then the playoffs. So got to work on that, buddy. So because I think
I'm already working on it.
you've
Yeah.
got a really good shot at winning this. So I think you guys are my pick to win it all because of my connection to Connor, of course, as a co-coach. Any final thoughts, Pulse, with regards to Chaos being here online with us?
I don't have anything in particular, but GG's on the match
Hmm.
and really good showing tonight from both your team, from the Megs, and thanks for joining us for an interview.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you for.
Final thoughts, Pulse, on this match as the Ghost Peppers here looking very dominant.
I definitely think the pickups that the Ghost Peppers benefit them a lot this stage. They're already looking like a much stronger team, especially since they're running things more than Goats now, as
Hmm.
Goats is on his way out. So now that they have the options to sort of run these more 2-2-2 comps, or honestly, they could probably run triple DPS if they want, or quad DPS if they want. They're just looking like a lot more flexible team, and they were looking like they were playing very well as a team, especially for this being one of their first matches with some of the new pickups. The Megs still, honestly, I think are going to be a very strong team in Owlet, but they're going to need to step it up with the teamwork aspect, because I think the biggest difference we saw between the Megs and the Ghost Peppers today was the Ghost Peppers were going that extra mile and they were really looking like a Masters team, where
Mhm.
the Megs were doing some minor misplays or minor things that could have gone better in team comps, or we saw a couple of moments where people would be focused on their own 1v1s rather than trying to set up as many 2v1s for the team as possible. So we saw like Rubishu in the back line trying to take down the Ana while the Winston was going after someone else, while the Magic Cat on Genji was going after someone else. So if you can minimize those scenarios where you're taking 6 1v1s and instead change it to taking a couple 2v1s to get that first advantage in a fight, to get that pick, use that target focus, then you're really going to set yourself up for winning team fights more and more frequently.
Yeah, absolutely. So it looks like here the Ghost Peppers are going to be set. Chaos in the channel saying why you got to play with my heart, because I got to. Chaos, I absolutely have to. But the Ghost Peppers looking very, very solid. The Megs here probably trying probably trying to make sure that they were playing with some comps here. They knew this was going to get a this was going to be a tough match for them. Maybe they were experimenting with some comps there. This is the first time I've seen them play with a Sombra. So it was very, very interesting for them to come out. But that's going to be doing it for us. This is going to be, I think I might have some extra cast here during the weekend, but I might be going on a 2-week break here, as I do have other casting gigs, Pulse. So first ever paid casting gig. Woo! But for Pulse,
Congrats on that, Hodo.
I know it's going to be crazy. But for Pulse, I am Hodo. Thank you so much for joining us today. It is a 4-0 win here for the Ghost Peppers over the Megs. A great way to start off their stage 2. And we will see you next time.